And we have, again, lots of mechanisms to do the dissolving. We have, again, that's an exponentially growing field. We have old mechanisms like meditation, prayer, martial arts. We have more sophisticated mechanisms like biofeedback mechanisms, focus at will, psychotherapy, neuro-linguistic programming, drugs to some extent, etc. Medicinal marijuana, fantastic. Whatever the mechanism is, there's ways of dissolving this stuff in different ways. Yeah.
So it seems like the layers are basically your identity that you form around your soul through learned experiences, responses, and environment, right? So
yeah, certainly this layer is, yeah. By the way, there's more layers, right? This is my subconscious, my conscious. I could have family, culture, right? Other layers that block or unblock or whatever.
Right. I'm curious what you think about the process of like recreating yourself. Because what you're describing, turning this thing or eliminating the layers is basically like, dying of yourself and creating your identity.
No. I don't think you're dying, you're killing your identity. I think you're exposing the real self. Okay? So, I think you're unveiling when you do this. You're not recreating, because that's the same. For this lifetime, that's the same. Okay. Yeah?
So how then would you explain, the assumption sounds like if you get the real soul of the center, then that's good. How do you explain the natural propensity to hit your little brother and you're mine and selfishness that's in a little child that's never been taught?
That's creating, so as a child grows, they form these either through external stimuli or internal instinct to preserve identity. And I'll get to that in a second, because there's a mechanism there's a whole other metaphysical construct that I'll get to in a second that talks about how do you frame this, and that I'll touch on that. Okay, who's I versus the external person? Ken Wilber has done a fair bit of thinking around this I versus we versus it. There's a kind of a 2x2 diagram he has on it. Any integral theory people here?
There's another piece that you haven't calculated as well, which when you're youthful, you need for resources, is what you use to guide your decision making. You're growing to an adult, around an adult, abroad, you each have to calculate yourself, so that you can express yourself, which is what you want.
Okay, that's a good way of putting it. Yes?
I've been thinking a lot about this, and my question for you is, you've been talking a lot about expressing yourself through skill.
Yeah? Or art?
But really, is it namaste, the light, being recognized as a light? Is it more about interpersonal relationships?
Okay, so let me get to level 2 of this diagram, right? Level 2 is let's recognize there's another entity out there, right? That's also expressing. When you interact with somebody else, a really interesting question is at what level are you interacting with that other person? Is it a soul level? Is it your subconscious talking to their soul? Is it two conscious level things? So a key question if you're in any kind of relationship is what's the depth of the relationship? It goes to the same if you make any life choices. At what level are you making that choice? Because you can ask that question also, right? And so hopefully you're making choices at this level, but often you make choices at this level, very often at this level. Right? And so, but interacting, interdisciplinary or falling in love, etc., really kind of asks the question, are you falling in love with somebody at the subconscious level, or a soul level, or what? So now you add a little bit more complexity. Yeah. Yeah.
Oriental culture and this tradition seem to be different perspectives and trying to find that first place when you're aligning yourself in meditation perhaps. And then there are conscious that show us that means you must have Occidental way, you must have the other that can possibly be into your soul that help you find. You mentioned Messi wouldn't have found his place there was not for the coach that passed.
I would argue that all disciplines require a coach type of structure to just look from outside and say, you're operating from this level to this level to this level. Was it?
This reminds me of the work of Otto Scharmer, one of the kids.
Yeah.
And
Was that theory you?
yeah,
Okay.
and that kind of frames how to solve the work.
Yeah.
The like three steps, opening mind, stop thinking, stop judging, stop understanding through the mind work. Second is open heart, which is allow yourself to feel and empathize, connect.
Okay.
And the third one is open will, which is
Open
controlling and let
Open
life-
will.
Open will.
Okay.
And let life surprise you and be what it is. So after that process, you come to the bottom of you, which is who am I and what is my work and what is my essence, which is similar to that. And that's in stillness. Total.
Which goes back to the awareness discussion over there. Yeah, agreed. Totally agree. Yeah.
Do you remember something like his work about 4 ways of expressing the soul
Okay.
through the body? Like if you use your body to its maximum expression, I think that's what you are talking about athletes. You can have this flowing through the mind, like these deep psychological discussions that sometimes get you to breakthroughs.
Or scientific breakthroughs. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's through rationality, but using it to this is extreme, like overheating your brain
Yeah.
somehow. Then you have this meditation, peaceful spirit, like I don't know, like this mystical people that flies and have high location and they make these states through this kind of. And the fourth way is love, and it's have this creative energy that we are starting to know how to master it, but using these 4 ways, I don't know, you can pick the one that you want to master, it's easier, but you can not erase them, but learn how
Emphasize.
to use them,
Yeah.
and start feeling comfortable with yourself, because it's so powerful, that it's energy is light. So we are afraid of ourselves, and we are afraid of the other selves. It's like a self-regulated environment.
I would frame that as different kind of angles of this. Right? You could frame it that way. Okay. I'd like to move on, but like, if there's a couple more key questions, because we could spend like hours on this. Yeah.
No, just to add to it, you
We
said-
really all need to stop and take a shot of tequila and go on to the next one. So let's go ahead.
I feel like we've been talking about multiple intelligences. I agree, and we all have geniuses in different things, but I just want to bring out the idea of integral development. So if we develop our body, mind, and heart, and soul kind of crudely, rather than just focusing on one aspect of all that, we get more bang for the buck that way. So all of our parts inform the other parts, and so there's a synergy that happens when we develop
I think what we're
at the same time.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. I think what we're finding is pretty much in any domain, right? You have to kind of have all of the 4. You have to be emotionally aware, physically aware, mentally aware, spiritually aware, and you get the best thing. So even if you're playing golf, you do a lot of workouts and keep yourself in very good physical shape so that when you need to achieve the flow state, you can achieve the flow state more on demand than anything else. Great point. Okay. Any other last comments about that? And then we can move on.
One more. So what you're saying, the meaning of life is expressing yourself.
No, I'm just saying that's the human condition. I haven't got to the meaning of life yet. That was this part here. This part. So we asked this question, what do we think is the purpose of life? I want to revisit that in a bit. But it's important to have this discussion so we don't get stuck in what do we mean by truth, and this discussion is to just as a what do we mean by what is the human being, what's the human condition? Okay. All right. Any other comments? Yeah.
The death ball from Simon Sinek
Yes.
addresses the golden circle.
It does. Why are we here? Right? And in my book, I talk about a massive transformative purpose for a company, but that's essentially trying to find what is your purpose.
Yeah.
It's a similar thing. Any other last comments? All right, let's move on. Jesus, okay.